Good morning, everyone. My name is Rabbi Director of Pastoral Care. We will continue this week our Oneg Shabbat series. I hope everyone had a wonderful week, enjoyed the wonderful weather. I saw so many residents out on the patios. So nice to see everyone as the weather continues to be beautiful this summer. Shalom Aleichem Malachei HaShahares Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shalom Aleichem Malachei HaShahares Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shalom Aleichem Malachei HaShahares Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ba'achem leShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ba'achem leShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ba'achem leShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruchuni leShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu Baruchuni leShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzedchem leShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu Tzedchem leShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzedchem leShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu Tzedchem leShalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In this week's Torah portion, we read about the story of Moshe Rabbeinu and Moses and the tragedy which happened when he did not fulfill the word of God completely. The story is told that the Jewish people were in the desert and they were in need for water. And God told Moses, and he said, "Speak to the rock, and I will create a miracle, and water will come forth from the rock itself." And for whatever reason it may be, Moses did not fully understand and comprehend what God asked him to do. He spoke to a different rock, not the rock that God had commanded him. And of course, no water came forth, but that was not the rock that was deemed the one to have the water be produced. And Moses was upset that the water was not coming out, and he struck the rock with his staff. He hit it, and then water came out. And God told Moshe the following: "Since you didn't listen to my words exactly, you are going to be punished. You cannot go into the land of Israel." And the commentators explain that if Moshe would have spoken to the correct rock or not hit the wrong rock, then water would have come out. It would have been a great miracle for the Jewish people. That even the rock itself, by speaking to it nicely, gently, can do unbelievable things. Instead, the rock was hit, sort of forced to produce the water. But the question is that either way, it's a miracle. Whether you speak to a rock, whether you hit a rock, no one could deny the greatness of God to have water produced from a rock. So yes, it wasn't exactly what God told him to do, but still, it seemed like it still was a very good miracle on its own merit. Why then was Moses punished? One of the answers given is the following, is that, yes, in our eyes, maybe it's not such a big deal. The difference between speaking to something or hitting something, either way a miracle occurred. We have to understand, if in God's eyes it was a little bit better, a little bit in God's eyes really means a lot. And this is a tremendous message for all of us. Sometimes we think, what's the big deal if I do a little act of kindness to someone? I do a little nice thing, a little favor. It's not such a big deal if I do it or not. We have to understand that maybe from our perspective it's not such a big deal, but from God's perspective, even a little bit could go very, very far. L'chadodi l'kras kala pnei Shabbos nekabela. Chadodi l'kras kala pnei Shabbos nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad ishmiyahanu kelam yuchad. Hashem echad u'shmo echad. Shemo seferes v'lesila lechadodi l'kras kala pnei Shabbos nekabela. L'kras Shabbos Gurwin elcha ki mekor haberacha meirosh mikedem nesucha. Sov maaseh b'machshavot chila lechadodi l'kras kala pnei Shabbos nekabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha kol meitzi mitoch ha'hafecha rav lo sheves b'yemek ha'bacha v'yachamol alayechem lo. Chadodi l'kras kala pnei Shabbos nekabela. Hisnari me'afar kumi levshi bigdei sefer techami al yad ben yishai beis halachmi. Karva el nafshi gi hala lechadodi l'kras kala pnei Shabbos nekabela. Hisoreri kiva horeku ori shir daberi. Kavod Hashem alayich nigla. Chadodi l'kras kala pnei Shabbos nekabela. Lo se voshi v'lo si komi Mate shochachi umate mi bahal Yesu ani yami v'nivnesa irauti la chadodi likras kala pnei Shabbos nekabela hayolim shisa shosayich v'rachaku kameva halayich yasis halayich elokayich Kim soizcha sanau kala lecha dodi lekras kala pnei Shabbos nekabela boi b'shalom ateres bala Gamberi no v'tahala tochem unei am segula Boi kala lecha dodi lekras kala pnei Shabbos nekabela. We started to mention past a number of weeks we were entering a time period in the summer, the month of Tammuz into the month of Av, where we're mourning the destruction of the temple, of both temples. They were both burnt down and destroyed on the 9th of Av. Now the first temple was destroyed for around 70 years until they had permission to rebuild the temple from God. But the second temple has been destroyed for so many years, for thousands of years. And the sages explain that the sins of the second temple are far greater than the sins of the first temple. What were the sins during the time of the second temple? The main sin was that there was hatred between each other. And although during the first temple there was idol worshiping and other terrible crimes, at the end of the day, hatred is the worst thing that we could have for each other. We have to live together in harmony, in peace, with love for one another, even if we don't necessarily feel that way. Even if someone near us or close to us or next to us is not someone we really like, not someone we enjoy spending time with, but at least we have to put on an act. We have to try to love them. The more we try and say to ourselves, you know what, maybe this person isn't exactly like me, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to try to be a good friend, to be a good neighbor. When God sees that, that will be the time when He tells us it's time to rebuild the third temple. Adon olam asher malach v'tarem kol yetzir nivra li'es nasa b'chevso kol azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kechlos hakol levado yimloch nora v'hu haya v'hu hoveh V'hu yiyeh b'sifara v'hu echad v'yein sheni l'hamshila l'hachvira v'li reishis v'li sachlis v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra v'hu keli v'chai goali v'tzor chavli v'yeis nasa v'hu nisi umanosli Minas kosi biyom ekra biyahado avkid ruchi ve'esishan v'yahira v'yem ruchi geviyasi ado shem li v'lo ira. And have a happy and healthy Shabbat, a great week. We'll see everybody next week.